Have you ever noticed this strange pattern in your life? You work hard. You are responsible. You try to save when you can. You avoid waste. And yet, money still seems to slip through your fingers. Just when things start to feel stable, an unexpected expense appears. Just when an opportunity comes close, it somehow disappears. Just when you feel you're about to catch up, life quietly pulls you back again. Many people immediately blame themselves. I must not be smart enough. I'm just unlucky with money. Others are better at this than I am. But listen carefully. In Feng Shui, this situation is rarely about effort, talent, or luck. Very often, it has nothing to do with what you are doing wrong. So let me ask you a gentler question. If it's not you, then what is silently blocking the flow of money? In traditional Feng Shui teachings, there is a concept that is almost never spoken about openly. It is not dramatic. It does not show up as a crisis, but it is powerful. It is called a hidden wealth lock, a subtle energetic blockage that causes money to arrive, but not stay, opportunities to appear, but not mature, abundance to circle your life without fully entering it. This kind of blockage doesn't shout. It doesn't announce itself. It simply creates a feeling of constant effort with limited results. And here's the important part. When you understand this, you don't feel ashamed anymore. You don't feel broken. You don't feel like something is wrong with you. You feel relieved. Because once you see the lock, you can begin to unlock it. And before we talk about how to open it, we must first understand what it truly is. But before we continue, if this message feels familiar to you, please take a moment to like this video so this wisdom can reach others who need it. You may also comment this affirmation below to anchor the energy. I am ready to allow money to flow back into my life. And if you feel guided, share this video and subscribe to the channel for more Feng Shui and Buddhist wisdom. Now, let us begin by understanding the true nature of this hidden wealth lock. The hidden wealth lock through the lens of Feng Shui. To understand why money does not stay, we must first return to the foundations of Feng Shui. In classical Feng Shui, wealth is represented by water. Water symbolizes flow, circulation, nourishment, and continuity. When water moves smoothly, life prospers. When water becomes stagnant, everything around it begins to feel heavy. Now listen carefully to this next part. A wealth problem is rarely a lack of water. It is almost always a problem of blocked flow. Money does not disappear. Opportunities do not vanish. They simply stop moving freely. In Feng Shui, what we call a lock is not a punishment. It is not bad luck. It is not a curse. A lock is simply qi that has become stuck. Think of a river. When the river flows, villages thrive. Crops grow. Trade moves naturally. But if that river is quietly dammed upstream, the water does not vanish. It pools, it stagnates, and downstream, life slowly dries up. This is exactly how a hidden wealth lock forms. There are three main reasons this energetic dam appears. The first is prolonged financial worry. When stress about money becomes constant, the mind tightens, the breath shortens, and over time, this tension imprints itself into the energy field of your home. The second is a living space that continuously drains qi. Clutter, neglected corners, leaking water, broken items, or chaotic layouts act like small holes where wealth energy quietly escapes day after day. The third reason is an inner state of constant defense, always bracing, always preparing for loss, always expecting the next problem. This inner posture sends a clear signal. It is not safe for abundance to stay here. And so money comes, but it does not settle. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because the environment, both inner and outer, has learned to hold tension instead of flow. This is why effort alone does not fix the problem. You cannot force water to move by pushing harder. You must remove the blockage. And here's where it becomes important. Because there are 5 very clear signs that reveal whether a hidden wealth lock is present in your life. Once you recognize them, you will no longer feel confused. And that is where we will go next. 5 clear signs of a hidden wealth lock. Before we talk about how to release a wealth lock, we must first learn how to recognize it. Because Feng Shui does not work through belief alone. It works through observation. When water is blocked, it leaves traces. And when wealth energy is restricted, it shows itself in very specific patterns. Here are 5 clear signs. As you listen, do not judge yourself. Simply notice. The first sign: money arrives quickly, but leaves just as fast. You receive income, a bonus, or a new opportunity, and almost immediately, something pulls it away. In Feng Shui, this reflects water without containment. Flow exists, but there is no structure to hold it. The second sign: there are always unexpected expenses, repairs, fees, sudden obligations, not once, but repeatedly. This often points to imbalanced earth energy, where stability and grounding are weak, allowing money to leak out through constant disruptions. The third sign: you struggle to keep money for long periods of time. Savings build slowly and then disappear. No matter how careful you try to be, this is not a discipline problem. It is often a sign that metal energy, the element of boundaries and preservation, has been quietly eroded. The fourth sign: you feel uncomfortable looking at your wallet, bank app, or statements. You delay checking. You avoid opening messages related to money. On an energetic level, this shows avoidance of water, a subtle fear of facing the flow directly. The fifth sign: no matter how much you earn, there is a persistent feeling of not enough. Enough never arrives. Enough never feels secure. This is not greed. This is a mindset shaped by long-term scarcity pressure where the nervous system never fully relaxes. If one or two of these sound familiar, it does not mean something is wrong with you. If several resonate deeply, it simply means the flow has been restricted for a long time. And here is the key understanding. To remove a blockage, you do not smash the riverbank. You do not force the water. To unlock wealth, we do not destroy. We gently restore movement. And that is exactly what we will begin to explore next. The Feng Shui principle of the glass of water. At this point, it is important to pause and clarify something. What you are about to learn is not a miracle ritual. It is not magic. And it is not about forcing money to appear. In Feng Shui, this practice is simply a method of adjusting the water flow. Remember, wealth is water. When water moves correctly, it nourishes. When water is blocked, no effort can replace flow. This glass is not powerful because of belief. It is powerful because it creates a controlled environment where qi can realign. Let us look at this through the 5 elements. Salt represents metal. Metal has the ability to refine, filter, and absorb. In this method, metal clears residue, old stress, lingering financial fear, and stagnant emotional weight that silently interferes with wealth circulation. Water represents water. This is obvious, yet often misunderstood. Water is not only money. It is movement, opportunity, and timing. Here, water becomes the carrier, holding intention and transporting purified qi back into your space. The bay leaf represents wood. Wood gives direction. It grows upward. It defines where energy is meant to go. Without wood, water moves, but without purpose. When these 3 come together, they form a harmonious sequence. Metal, water, wood. Metal cleans. Water flows. Wood guides. This is why the method is simple. Feng Shui does not respond to excess. It responds to clarity. Too many objects scatter intention. Too many steps dilute focus. But when the elements are correct and balanced, even the simplest setup becomes effective. And this is what many people miss. The power does not come from doing more. It comes from doing precisely what is needed, nothing extra. But each element still has a very specific role to play. And once you understand those roles, the process becomes much clearer. That is where we will go next. 1. Salt. Clearing the path for wealth. In ancient Feng Shui traditions, salt has never been considered an ordinary substance. Long before it was used for cooking, salt was valued for one primary reason: its ability to absorb and neutralize. Energetically, salt carries the quality of metal, and metal, in Feng Shui, governs boundaries, purification, and release. When financial stress accumulates over time, worry about bills, fear of loss, memories of debt, that pressure does not disappear when the problem is solved. It lingers. This lingering residue settles quietly in the energy field of a home and in the emotional body of the people living there. Salt works by drawing out this invisible weight, not just the surface stress, but the deeper tension that causes money to feel heavy, unsafe, or unstable. This is why, in this method, salt is used first. You do not invite new wealth into a space that is still holding old fear. You clear the path before the flow returns. However, there is an important balance to understand. Salt must be used sparingly. In Feng Shui, excess metal creates rigidity. Too much salt can overconstrict the energy, making the space feel tight rather than open. A small pinch is enough. Precision matters more than quantity. And always ensure the salt is clean and dry. Damp, contaminated, or neglected salt has already absorbed disorder and decay. Using it only introduces confusion into the system. Remember, salt does not attract wealth, it removes what blocks it. Once the path is cleared, the next step is essential. Because after cleaning, we must invite movement. And that movement comes through water. That is where we turn next. 2. Water. The flow of wealth. In Feng Shui, there is no symbol of wealth more fundamental than water. Water represents money, yes, but more deeply, it represents movement, timing, and opportunity. Where water flows smoothly, resources circulate. Where water is blocked or disturbed, prosperity struggles to settle. This is why water is at the center of this method. But notice something important. We use still water, not moving water. Flow does not always mean motion. True flow begins with clarity. Still water holds information. It receives intention. It responds to presence. When water is agitated, it scatters energy. When water is calm, it becomes a mirror, reflecting and carrying the quality placed into it. In Feng Shui, water is known to store and transmit qi. This means it carries not only physical properties, but also emotional and mental states. If you pour water with impatience, it holds impatience. If you approach it with calm and openness, it carries that signal outward. This is why intention matters, not as a wish, but as direction. Consider the difference between two rivers. A river guided by its banks nourishes land, supports life, and creates abundance. A river without boundaries floods, erodes, and destroys. The water itself is not the problem. The path is. In this method, water becomes the vehicle through which wealth energy returns, gently, steadily, and without force. But water alone is not enough. Flow without direction leads to loss. And that is why wealth always needs guidance. Which brings us to the next element. 3. The bay leaf, the compass of intention. The bay leaf may seem simple, but in Feng Shui and ancient traditions, it carries a very specific meaning. For centuries, the bay leaf symbolized victory, legitimacy, and rightful success. Not success taken from others, not wealth gained through struggle or fear, but success that arrives at the correct time, through correct alignment. Energetically, the bay leaf represents wood. Wood governs growth, direction, and expansion. It answers one essential question: where is this energy meant to go? This is why the bay leaf is so important. Water can flow, salt can cleanse, but without direction, wealth energy becomes scattered. The bay leaf acts as a compass. It helps money arrive for the right purpose, to support your life, to stabilize your foundation, to grow something meaningful. And it helps money arrive at the right moment, not too early, not too late, but when it can be received without stress or fear. One of the most common mistakes people make is holding a vague intention. I just want more money. I want to be rich. From an energetic perspective, this gives water nowhere to settle. Wealth needs clarity, not pressure, direction, not desperation. When you hold the bay leaf, you are not demanding an outcome. You are quietly preparing the space, the step most people ignore. Before any adjustment of wealth energy can take place, there is one truth in Feng Shui that must be understood. Feng Shui does not respond only to objects. It responds to place, and it responds to presence. You can use the correct elements. You can follow every step perfectly. But if the space is unsettled or the mind is restless, the qi will not stay. This is why preparation matters. In Feng Shui, Wealth energy behaves like a guest. It does not enter noisy rooms. It does not settle where it feels ignored. It arrives quietly and remains only where it feels respected. So the first thing to consider is where. Choose a corner of your home that feels calm. It does not need to be large. It does not need to be beautiful. But it must feel undisturbed. Avoid areas near trash bins, bathrooms, or heavy foot traffic. These spaces continuously release draining qi. Instead, choose a spot where you naturally pause, a corner where you reflect, rest, or breathe. Next, clear gently. This is not about deep cleaning. It is about removing distraction, a few unnecessary objects, dust, anything that creates visual or emotional noise. As you clear the space, you are sending a quiet signal. This place is being prepared. Then comes the most overlooked step, your inner state. Before you touch the glass, slow your breath. Inhale gently through the nose. Exhale longer than you inhale. Do this 3 times. This simple act tells your nervous system that it is safe to receive. And this is crucial. A tense body repels flow. A guarded mind blocks entry. Master Yip often says, "Qi only enters places that are respected." Respect is not formality. It is attention. It is care. It is presence. When the space feels settled and your breath has softened, you will notice something subtle. The room feels quieter, and so do you. This is the sign that the environment is ready. Only now does the adjustment of wealth energy truly begin. And once the space is prepared, we can move into the process itself, step by step, without force, without rush. Step-by-step method, simplified but precise. Now that your space is calm and your mind is no longer rushing, we can begin. This is not something you do like a routine chore. It is a quiet adjustment of qi, simple but precise. First, take a clear glass. Hold it with both hands for a moment. This may sound small, but in Feng Shui, the hands are extensions of intention. When you hold the glass steadily, you are telling your energy, "I am present. I am ready." Now slowly pour clean water into the glass. Do not pour quickly. Let it be gentle. As the water enters, imagine this. The flow you want in your finances is now being invited into your space. You may whisper one simple line softly. Money flows to me naturally and peacefully. Not as a demand, but as a direction. Next, take a small pinch of salt and sprinkle it into the water. Watch it dissolve. In Feng Shui, this moment matters because it represents something very real. Old tension losing its grip. Salt. At this moment, the method becomes complete. Metal has cleared. Water is ready to move. Wood has given direction. But remember, this only works when you are not mechanical. Do not do it with frustration. Do not do it as a test. Do it as a quiet agreement with life. I am ready to stop resisting the flow. And once the glass is prepared, the next step becomes critical, because in Feng Shui, where you place something decides how long its energy stays active. So now we must talk about placement and how to complete the cycle correctly. Placement and completing the cycle. Once the glass has been prepared, where you place it becomes just as important as how you made it. In Feng Shui, location determines movement. Energy does not behave the same in every corner of a home. The most ideal placement for this method is the southeast sector of your living space. This area is traditionally known as the wealth and growth sector, ruled by the wood element and closely connected to financial stability and long-term prosperity. To find it, stand near the center of your home and use a compass, a physical one or a simple phone app, to locate the southeast direction. If this area feels calm and undisturbed, place the glass there and leave it overnight. Do not move it. Do not touch it. Let the energy settle and breathe. Now, if the southeast is not suitable, perhaps it is a bathroom, storage area, or high traffic space. Do not worry. Feng Shui is flexible when intention is clear. In that case, choose a place that feels quiet, respectful, and undisturbed. A bedroom corner, a bookshelf, a windowsill with soft morning light. The key is consistency and stillness. The next morning, preferably before noon, it is time to complete the cycle. Take the glass gently and bring it outside. If possible, pour the water at the base of a healthy, living tree. Trees symbolize rooted growth. They rise upward while remaining deeply connected to the earth. As you pour the water, say a simple word of thanks. This moment is essential. In Feng Shui, receiving without giving creates stagnation. But when you return energy to the earth, the flow remains open. This is the principle of balance. Receive, then give. And when a cycle is completed with gratitude, wealth energy does not stop. It continues to move, quietly, steadily, and naturally, back toward you. Gratitude. What allows money to stay? Many people ask a sincere question. Why does money come and then leave again? From a Feng Shui perspective, money does not leave because it is offended. It leaves because the environment is not prepared to hold it. We often focus on attracting wealth, but very few people learn how to keep it. And this is where gratitude becomes essential. In energy work, gratitude is not a reaction. It is a frequency. When gratitude appears only after money arrives, the signal is subtle but clear. I feel safe only when I have. This creates anxiety underneath success, and anxiety quietly pushes wealth away. True stability comes when gratitude appears before results. Not pretending, not forcing positivity, but gently acknowledging what already supports you. In Buddhist teaching, gratitude is closely connected to right awareness. Seeing clearly what is already present softens the heart and relaxes the nervous system. A relaxed system can receive, a tense system cannot. This is why gratitude allows money to stay. Here is a simple 7-day practice to support this shift. Each morning, before checking your phone, write down one thing you are grateful for. It does not need to be big. A roof over your head, a warm cup of tea, a single bill paid on time, a moment of calm. Then write one gentle line. I am grateful for the abundance that is finding its way to me. This is not wishful thinking. It is alignment. In Buddhism, this is known as cultivating contentment without attachment. You are not clinging. You are not demanding. You are acknowledging flow. And something subtle begins to change. Money no longer feels like something you must chase. It begins to feel like something that can rest with you. Because when gratitude leads, wealth feels safe to stay. And when wealth feels safe, it no longer needs to leave. Caring for your money spaces. In Feng Shui, money is not only income. It is an energy that responds to how it is treated. This is why we say, money behaves like a guest. A guest notices the entrance. A guest observes the room. A guest decides whether to stay. So we begin with the front door. The entrance of your home is called the mouth of Qi. It is where opportunities enter your life. A cluttered doorway sends a quiet message. There is no room here. But a clean path, soft lighting, or a simple welcome mat says something very different. You are invited. You may come in. Next, look at your wallet. Your wallet is not just storage. It is your personal money home. If it is overfilled with old receipts, broken cards, or disorder, wealth energy becomes confused. It may arrive, but it does not feel respected enough to remain. Clear what no longer serves you. Keep only what you use. You may place a small affirmation inside, such as, "Money flows to me with ease and balance." Then there is your work desk. This is where effort meets outcome. A neglected or chaotic desk creates mixed signals, action without direction. Take a few moments to wipe it down. Create one clear space where your work can breathe. These actions may seem small, but in Feng Shui, small signals speak loudly. You are not cleaning to be perfect. You are caring to be aligned. When your spaces show respect for money, money feels welcome. And when money feels welcome, it begins to stay. Not out of force, but out of comfort. This is how a relationship with wealth is built. Quietly, consistently, and with care. As we come to the end of this sharing, there's one final truth I would like you to remember. You do not need to become someone else to attract wealth. You do not need to work harder than everyone around you. You do not need to prove your worth to money. In Feng Shui, prosperity does not come from force. It comes from alignment. Most people struggle not because they lack ability, but because they have been pushing against the flow for too long, holding tension, bracing for loss, preparing for the next problem before the present one has even arrived. When you live like this, wealth feels pressure the moment it enters, and under pressure, it leaves. Master Yip often reminds his students, water does not need to be pushed. It only needs the gate to be opened. This method you have learned is not an ending. It is a doorway, a way to stop fighting, a way to soften the body, a way to tell life, quietly but clearly, I am ready to receive without fear. From this point forward, the most important practice is not another ritual. It is awareness. Notice when you tense around money. Notice when you rush. Notice when gratitude fades, and gently return to openness. Before we close, I invite you to anchor this moment with one simple affirmation. Please comment this below, slowly and intentionally. I am open to wealth flowing into my life with ease and balance. This is not for me. It is for you. You may also like this video as a small but powerful signal, a sign that you are ready to stop resisting and allow the flow to return. If this sharing has helped you see money differently, please share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel for more Feng Shui and Buddhist wisdom shared in a calm, grounded, and practical way. Remember this: Wealth is not something you chase. It is something that comes home when it feels safe to stay. Thank you for listening.